So on today's episode, we're going to be going over onboard air systems like ARB air compressors, portable air compressors, twin air compressors,
CO2 power tanks or portable tanks such as Powertanks, mini built, DIY.
York air compressors, engine mounted stuff, you know, AC compressors that were converted into air compressors. So let's get right into it. So first up, we got a power tank. Pros of a power tank: they are very fast. You can run air tools, and I know that air tools are kind of a thing of the past. You can get Milwaukee, you know, cordless impacts and stuff like that. So that's kind of, you know, a cop out for people with power tanks, but they are very fast. You don't have to do any mounting on the engine electrically. As long as it's filled up, it's not gonna fail, right? Like an air compressor can fail, but a power tank, as long as it's got air and your regulator's good and all that, it's gonna have freaking air. But to cover some of the stuff that it comes with the power tank, hose, bracket, and regulator. It's about 640 bucks. So, I mean, it is a huge chunk of change, and there is, and we'll go into some of the cons here. To fill this tank, it's about 20 bucks a fill. So, and you have to have somewhere close to be able to fill it. But there is a lot of good things about power tanks. You can carry this from truck to truck, right? I don't have to have my vehicle up close to the vehicle that needs air to be able to take this. I just undo it from the bracket and carry it up the trail. If there's like a big line and there's somebody stuck up there that needs air, I can get them air without having to get my vehicle to them. The one thing that you are going to want to remember with a power tank is that before you go out on a trail, right, it doesn't have to happen every trail, right? It just depends on how much you're using your power tank. But if you're going to make a trip to Moab or something like that, you damn sure want to make sure that that thing's full, right? I've went on 5-day wheeling trips with this power tank and never had a problem airing up, and mine gets trailered, so I'm not airing up to like 30 psi. So in this 93 4Runner, there's an ARB air compressor. It actually doesn't work, so that we'll just go into one of the cons right now. Is that air compressor can fail on you at any given moment, but there is a lot of good things to onboard air as far as ARB air compressors. So let's get into some of the pros of onboard air systems. So I don't have to fill them up. They're, you know, 100% ready to go right now. All I got to do is hook them up to power, and we got air. We're out there running trails every once in a while, and you need to air up and air down, and speed is not, you know, like a thing that you're looking for. An onboard air system like that is probably the best, you know, that you're gonna get, because it's on demand right now. If you're running air lockers with the ARB air compressor like that is perfect. You can get an auxiliary tank and run an auxiliary tank. If it was me, I'd probably be running an auxiliary tank just so I have a little bit more volume than what the air compressor is actually putting out. But beyond that, some of the cons, it does take a while to air up. Obviously, the failure of an ARB air compressor or any engine compartment mounted air compressor, all right? But the volume of air is not gonna hold up to air tools if that's what you're looking to do with it too. If you had an auxiliary tank, and you can get Viair's another good one, and they usually come with auxiliary tanks. Those are usually used in like, you know, people with low riders, stuff like that. They're running airbags. They usually have auxiliary tanks on their vehicles. An auxiliary tank is another mount that you're gonna have to freaking make room for, all right? Most of the time it's gonna end up underneath the vehicle, and us that rock crawl a lot, having a pressurized cylinder up under the vehicle is probably not the best idea. But you can put skid plates on it and stuff like that. So
All right, let's talk some pricing about the ARB air compressor systems. Right here we have this one, the old version, back when the dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. This one will run you about 200 bucks. This is the single, and if you want a twin, the twin will run you about 600 bucks.
So as far as engine mounted air compressors, they actually physically have to mount to the engine. They're belt driven. York air compressors. They're awesome. The pros of them is it's continuous air. You have to have an onboard air tank to be able to run them pretty much. You can run them straight out the compressor, but you're better off having an onboard air tank. You can convert your front bumper or have an air tank mounted up under your vehicle to be able to run that. One of the cons is the engine has to be running for it to work. You're gonna have to listen to the engine run. You're gonna have to get your vehicle up close to somebody that needs the air if they de-seated a bead or whatever, you know what I mean? But the cost of an engine mounted air compressor, you can convert your AC compressor into an air compressor. Not sure the DIY cost of that, but for like an engine mounted York air compressor, it's about 250 to 500 bucks. There's other air compressors also. There's portable units that, you know, you just leave in your pickup, hook it up to the battery, and those are good for probably up to about 35s. Anything beyond that, it's going to start overheating the air compressor, and that goes for most of these. You know, Powertank's one that you're not really going to have to worry about overheating, but like ARB air compressors, they are going to start to overheat as your tire size goes up. So if you got 40s or 42s, you know, running your ARB continuously for that amount of time is going to put a lot of strain on the compressor. York air compressors, not really going to have too much problem with that. They're meant for, you know, like semis run York air compressor type things, belt driven air compressors, to where they're running their air systems completely off engine driven air compressors. But you definitely want to keep into account your tire size and what air system that you're wanting to run. Be mindful of that when you go into getting your air, but just remember, any air out on the trail is better than no air, okay? You want to be able to take care of yourself out on the trail. It's part of being a self-contained unit. Same with your winch or any recovery gear, stuff like that. You want to have your own air. That way you can take care of yourself if you're out there by yourself. Even if your buddy needs air, you know, I've helped buddies with power tanks and stuff like that, so.
All right, so I hope that information helps you guys out there on all the different air compressor systems that you will see out on the road or off-road. So now it is up to you guys to choose what will best suit your guys' application.
Thanks for watching, guys.